I'm traveling a lot, and when you travel, you got to protect your data. You got to protect your privacy online. NordVPN.com/Fightful allows me to do that, allows me to browse safely and securely. When you go to an airport, when you go to an arena, a restaurant, a hotel, you're usually connecting to that unsecured Wi-Fi, which leaves you susceptible to having your data stolen, any number of things taken from your private connection or what should be your private connection. NordVPN.com/Fightful makes it a private connection with the fastest VPN in the world, a 30-day money-back guarantee, and a ton of other features in addition to that peace of mind that you get when you can browse safely and securely. And I'm talking all your devices: Surface Pro, laptop, desktop, PC, smart TV, router, phone, whatever you're taking with you. NordVPN.com/Fightful will add extra layers of security to your digital life. You can get a password manager, a file encryption tool. Be safe, be smart. NordVPN.com/Fightful.
Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Joel Pearl, Fightful.com. I'm here with my new best friend. My new best friend in the whole wide world, TNA Wrestling, Steve Maclin. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Joe, I'm doing good. We're hanging here at the hotel here in Montreal and getting ready for Slam.
Yeah. We're here for Slammiversary. We're excited. It's going to be a big house tonight. Was it something that you were, expecting isn't really the word, but, obviously excited for? And what was the reaction when you found out, sold out, 4,000 plus Montreal Slammiversary?
Just means we're doing the right thing. TNA is moving in the right direction. The momentum is there. Obviously, the relationship with NXT and TNA is maybe boosting that, but I think we were kind of on that ride, and it just kind of added to the wave. Just let more people hop on, and people are getting more eyes on what TNA is and what it's been doing for the past 3 years since I've been here. So it's just an upward, we're on this rise, and it's so cool right now to be a part of something like this, because I got to be a part of the beginning of NXT when I first got there, and NXT with Black and Gold was getting that rush, and it's kind of the same vibe here now with TNA, where here we are getting into this new generation of this rebirth of what TNA is and getting more eyes on the product. And now with the TNA Plus app, getting more people to watch that. So please subscribe to the TNA Plus app, and you get to watch everything, especially Slammiversary, which hopefully you watched after we have this interview, because it's going out, 1-2 weeks after, maybe?
Probably. It'll be after the show. So, listen, last time you and I spoke in person, we did your contract re-signing interview as myself and Jeremy and Sean, and that was a heck of a conversation for us. But
it was good.
Last time you and I sat down was in Vegas at Hard to Kill, all the way back in January. Things had just changed in the landscape of TNA.
Yeah.
The TNA rebrand had come back. You were on the pre-show. You and I talked about being on the pre-show. Here we are 6 months later. You are now 7 months even. Now you're in the main event. Mm-hmm. And it's a big main event, and it is a 6-man elimination match. It's a long match. But talk to me about getting, starting from the pre-show, everywhere that we've gone to from there, and just that feeling of, the upward trajectory.
Wrestling is not a sprint, it's a marathon. That's the best advice I can give to anybody that's getting into wrestling, or even as a fan watching. You have to just play the long game and watch how things unfold. Things are always ever changing behind the scenes. You never know what's going to happen on the political side of things, on the business side of it. And then on the wrestling side, I can only control what I can. I'm going to go out there and do my part by going out there and performing to the best of my abilities. And I think I've done that since my time here in TNA, being a former world champion and now competing at Slammiversary for the world title in a 6-man match with 5 of the best competitors that TNA possibly has to offer. And it's just shows the testament to what I have in myself and believability, and you just take the opportunities that come with you. So if you want to say 6 to 7 months, I went from a pre-show to here. And like I told you then, for Hard to Kill, to be the pre-show and the rebirth of TNA, to be the first person to set the tone. And here I am at Slammiversary. It's a testament to my work. And it's also a testament to the opportunity and the trust that the company has in me.
A lot of this roll through for the last 6 months have involved you and Mike Santana, and of course, we've talked about your work with Mike, and Mike has talked about working with you. One thing you and I didn't get a chance to talk about was the tag team match, and how different of a role you had to play as a character going into that match and coming out of it, because I think people can figure out that once in a while you and I will exchange a message. And I said during one of your matches, I said, I can't get used to you working pseudo babyface. And you said, not a babyface.
It's a gray area right now. So it's whatever you perceive me to be, and I'm going to act the way I want to act and be the way I want to be perceived. And if you see me as a babyface or you see me as a heel, then so be it. It's my job to just go out there and do everything to my best ability. And for me and Mike, for that to be a one-off, it stinks that it was a one-off because it worked very well, and I thought we gelled very well, and we have good chemistry, whether we're working together or even against each other. So hopefully we get back to that down the road, but it's been pretty cool to kind of tread those waters a little bit.
After the match, you two had that moment. You had a big smile on your face. Of course,
Yeah.
you guys had won the match. You beat the Rascals. And then the crowd was chanting for you to hug.
Yeah.
And you had a big smile, and you were like, it felt like it was genuine. You would really enjoy the match.
Mhm.
And then you gave him the big hug. And that was very uncharacteristic of you.
Yeah.
What was kind of your rationale just kind of doing it? Was it just, I'm going to act in the moment, or was it?
Respect.
Yeah.
Respect for Mike with everything we did, even on the Immersed coming out for Hard to Kill, and then just everything leading up to that tag match. I think we're very similar, both of us, and for how we've gone through this business. And we obviously have our different stories, but for where we are and where we want to make a name for ourselves as individuals from being in a tag team for so long, and now we're stepping into the light on our own and trying to be a single star. I think it's the respect factor. And no matter what, if we go one-on-one, we're going to fight. And that's what it's going to come down to. We know what the goal is, and that's to be the world champion. You want to be the best, you got to work through and fight the best. And I think Mike's one of the best that TNA has to offer, even in the wrestling industry in general. He's one of the best competitors out there, and especially for me, that was a lot of fun. So to have that moment, and for the crowd in Chicago to just kind of, I don't know, it was cool to just feel the crowd for once too, like that way, and just the energy, especially setting the tone that night we opened up the night.
That's true.
So it was a good moment, and it just more or less respect towards him and for what he's accomplished and what we even did that night.
With mention of the Rascals and the match and everything, that's another team that's now reformed as a trio through the TNA and NXT partnership. You and I have mentioned it, is there a place for Steve Maclin in the NXT universe?
If that happens, it happens. Maybe that Cutler guy that's there, maybe we can wrestle there one day.
Is he still around?
I don't know. Maybe he's stuck there in the PC somewhere. Been there for years. But no, if that relationship happens, that would be great. My focus is always on TNA, like for Slammiversary, and then whenever this does come out, to have the gate we had and to just keep that momentum going within TNA. And I try to keep my focus on TNA. And if that relationship with NXT happens for myself to go over there and cross over there, that would be awesome. But my focus is on TNA and TNA alone and making this brand as best as possible.
So if I ask you the question that everyone else asks, every single TNA or NXT star, who do you want to face cross brand? Have you thought about that?
Well, obviously it'd be somebody that was in TNA, whether it's AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley. Those were probably
you're going out.
Don't deal with NXT. I had my time with NXT, like nothing against talent there, but I would go up towards main Raw and SmackDown just because that's where I feel my level is, and that's the level I think I can compete at as well. I've been there. Things obviously didn't work out the first time, but it's obviously working out here in TNA. So if they wanted to cross that line, that I would gladly appreciate that.
There's this cool moment you were just talking about, Steve Cutler is still stuck at the PC.
Yeah.
That brings me to the idea of training and the idea of coaching. And while you have quite a ways until maybe you wrap up your in-ring career, is coaching something that you've thought about or something that you'd like to do somewhere down the line?
Maybe. I don't know. I would have to get every bit of wrestling that I want out of me gone as a competitor, just because then you have to be able to shut that off and be a coach. And you can't sit there and tell somebody how to wrestle the way I would wrestle, because you have to be your own individual self. You have to be your own character, and you have to find yourself. And then that would have to have me be able to shut off my competitive edge, my creativity of what I would want to do, and have to just project it towards you and see what you would want to do and help you the best I can in my abilities, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. It's always something that I think about when it comes to any wrestler who's like, if you're doing seminars or if you're doing any kind of behind the scenes training, are you looking to impart that knowledge down the road, or is there something else that you plan to do post? Even when I do seminars and stuff on the indies, I have fun with that, but it's also very hard for me because I have a certain way like that. I like things. I love basic fundamentals. And if
that to me is the foundation of anything in pro wrestling, anything in life, whatever career you are in, any foundation that you have, the fundamentals, that's what the building block that you start with. And that's how you have to go. Same with you with interviewing. I'm sure you have your certain questions, you have your setups, you have your microphone set, like you have your way of doing things. Same thing in wrestling. I like to properly just safely feed and know how to get from place to place organically instead of just putting like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. I can imagine you versus, let's say, Speedball in your style of educating or coaching. I can assume it's very different, but also similar in the aspects of the fundamentals, like you're saying. But of course, Speedball's way of wrestling is going to be different from your style of wrestling.
And he has different fundamentals, and he's another one that I love to like work with, just because it's fun behind the scenes with Mike. Is I have my ways of how I learned TV wrestling with WWE. And we've had a few matches in the indies where like, why did you come this way? Why did you? Well, I was working the house. So he's like, oh, no, you don't have to move. I'm like, no. I'm working the entire perimeter so I can work the crowd, work the hard cam. I'm never going to shut that off of myself. And that's where the creative, like as competitors and even just as coworkers, like that's the fun part of wrestling where we learn from each other. And like, I can get into his mind and he can get in my mind and we both take away from each other. And that's how we learn and make each other better.
Is there anyone on the roster that you kind of learn from the most? And I don't mean that as a slight to anyone in particular on the roster, but like that someone you speak to the most that's like, you know, you go to it for advice or you really pick their brain and you're like, oh, that really resonates with me.
Frankie, EY, Josh Alexander, and then even my producers with Ace Steel and Lance Storm. Those are guys I kind of go to where if I have an idea, I just like, I run it by them and I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? And they'll tweak it a little bit. And it's just always having having a third party where if you and I are having a match, we have a producer there. And even when it was a referee sometimes too, with Ref Eddie Orengo in WWE, we'd have tag matches and I would love it because I'm like, hey, Eddie, what do you think of this? Like, oh, you're kind of doing this. Maybe like this, like you just eliminate this part and like, it'll just simplify it. I'm like, oh, okay. And it dubs it down and helps you just make it simpler. And to keep it simple, stupid method, it is very true to pro wrestling. And it just resonates towards fans where you can sit there and go, oh, okay. Where you don't want to bury a referee or you don't want to you just don't want to ruin a spot. And I love to just try to make things simpler. And that's kind of how I try to work and navigate with producers and other talent as well when I go to them for advice.
On the flip side of things, are people starting to come to you more for advice because you are now a tenured member of the TNA roster and someone who works the indies and is out there?
There's times people will be, hey, did you get the chance to see my match? I'm like, yeah, like this, like little things. Cause I'm always kind of, if I'm not wrestling or if I'm always at the monitor, I'm trying to watch the show or I'm trying to peek through the curtain, watch live just cause I like to see how everybody's reacting to certain different things or what's getting over and what can I do with that talent when I have a match with them. So it's kind of nice to have people come to me for advice, but at the same time, I still don't feel like it's my place to give advice. I'll always be that way. I'm like, I haven't been doing this that long. So I always feel that way where I'm just like, it's not my place. I'm not Ric Flair or Ricky Steamboat, or I'm not a coach at the PC. Like, you know what I mean? Like I haven't done it forever. So but I don't know. I think I try to give sound advice.
Okay. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
If you see yourself as someone who can do it, but not someone who has to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Listen, this is a little out of left field, but he's in the match tonight, Slammiversary. You and Joe Hendry want to do a duet with him? Or
no, I don't care about Spotify. I care about what happens in the ring. He cares more about the Spotify and the ratings that he gets on his views and YouTube. I'm more about the pro wrestling side of things.
But you have to
taking care of business.
It's
great. It's great for him, but it's going to die down eventually.
Okay. I mean, let's talk about his rise for a second. Mm-hmm. Again, we're not trying to bury Joe Hendry.
No, we're not.
But
if you believe in him, good for you.
By all means, there seems to be a lot of people. Yes. I'm waking up to texts and I'm waking up to DMs saying, do you believe in Joe Hendry? And I'm saying like, I believe in Joel Pearl, but I appreciate Joe Hendry. His rise has been meteoric in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I want your opinion because there is the entertainment side, mm-hmm. but I've also seen a change in his wrestling style. And I go to you for some of that stuff because I find you're a good resource for the difference in someone's style when they start to rise up the card or anything like that. What have you seen that's been different in Joe that has brought him to the point where now he's in the main event at a pay-per-view like Slammiversary?
I think he's embracing it, which is great. He's believing in himself as much as people are believing in him. He's believing in himself more and more that he's getting out there and getting the reps. He's someone that I eventually hopefully get a one-on-one with, because I think that'd be a great program as well. I'd get a lot out of him and he would get a lot out of me, on the flip side of things, for just making each other better. For the entertainment side, he is what pro wrestling kind of really is entertainment. It's the entertainment side of things. But I'm very happy for him and his success. But obviously, with whenever this airs, with Slammiversary, hopefully he's not the world champion and I am. Granted, I have 5 other competitors that I'm facing, including Moose and the System being out there possibly. Josh Alexander, Frankie, and Nick Nemeth. He got my number a few months back, so he's another one that I'm looking forward to hopefully getting in the ring again with one-on-one.
Yeah, you're acutely wrapped around everyone in this match in some way.
Yeah, and I think Joe Hendry and I and Josh Alexander are the only ones that have beaten Moose.
That's yeah.
I've beaten Moose twice.
Yeah, that's true. And I know that you've teamed with Moose and beat Joe Hendry.
Yes, and Josh Alexander. I just pinned Josh Alexander 2 weeks ago.
That's right. Well,
we're 1-1 now, Josh and I.
Yeah, there was a tag match and a 6-man tag where you beat Hendry, but you were teaming with Moose.
Yes.
The whole shtick. The cage match just delivers on all fronts.
You guys follow that? I don't know.
I mean, I do it for matches.
You and your Reddit.
Look up. No, I scroll Reddit. I don't interact. I learned a long time ago. I ain't interacting with Reddit. Sometimes the news is good. Most of the time, it ain't good. I want to shift because again, 6 months ago, we had a good conversation about. We're big wife guys here. We were talking about your wife, Deonna Purrazzo, and she had just made the jump to AEW, and she had also had her first match the same night as Hard to Kill. Mm-hmm. We're doing it again tonight.
It's kind of funny. Yeah.
It's her first lumberjack match in AEW as of the time of this recording. It's her
a lumberjill. Is it a lumber? I don't know. What's the PC way of saying it now?
I think that
let's go lumberjack.
Yeah, I think the WWE-ified way was to call it lumberjill because they wanted to make it sound like it was only the women. But I don't know who's around the ring.
You can call lumberjacks because there's some pretty jacked girls there.
That's right. Shoot. So let's talk about the difference 6 months later in maintaining that relationship. I know you two have been on the road. You're no strangers to being apart, but you know, things have changed a little bit in the last 6 months. Her work in AEW has been fantastic. It's been very strong. And your work, obviously, we've talked about. It's good, but let's deconstruct the relationship.
Well, mine is good or hers is good?
Yes. But no, let's talk about the differences that you've seen, and also this is my follow-up will be the big question. But let's talk about Deonna and her time in AEW and what you've seen and what you've been able to experience. Being her partner and all. It's
fun to see the journey of how she has to now reestablish herself for how much she accomplished when she was with TNA and Impact, for being a multi-champion, tag team champion, Reinas to Reinas, and just for her to go from that high and then make her debut, and then now she has to work again. And I love seeing her work just because when my wife's driven, she's get the fuck out of her way. You really need to, because she doesn't take no for an answer. If she wants something, she's going to go and get it. And it's the best thing to see, even with her just vignettes that she just shot. We got to do that together, and it was fun to help kind of like produce behind the scenes with her and like, oh, maybe do this. And we're getting the candles set up. I'm like, nope, get this in there, because we're doing the camera angles. We had 2 different shots. I'm like, no, get it like this. And then if you want to see if I made my AEW debut in that vignette, I kind of did with my hand on the wine. My hand made a debut.
Had you put that up there before that you were behind the scenes and you were helping out with that?
No.
All right, there you go.
There you go. There's your scoop here.
We're gonna put it on select. That'll be like the one thing.
Steve Maclin makes AEW debut. No, I did not make my AEW debut. Please. But no, it was just really cool to just see her vision and try to help her just kind of get that across and what she wanted. And then she shot it herself and brought it to work, and then they put it on television for her. So like, that's just a testament to her hard work and her vision of what she sees and where she wants to go. And for the story with her and Thunder now, I know it's kind of been a little bit stop and go, but they're getting the momentum, I think. And I think the girls there especially are fighting more and more now to get television time, and they're killing it. Tony and Mariah, that story alone, I told Dee when that Dynamite ended, I was like, that was freaking beautiful. Yeah. The shot was great. And I was just, it's good. That's just good television. But for her and Thunder now, and just her sinking her teeth into a story, it's just fun to see. And my wife just wants to kick ass. She wants to be the best, and she is. And she's getting there. It's just, you're reestablishing with a new crowd, and people are getting to understand you. And obviously at the beginning, she was a baby face, which was very confusing because my wife is not a baby face. She's a good person, but not a good person. If that makes sense. But
Her
it's
character is questionable.
yes, she is very much a mob wife, and it's the best thing in the world, and I love it. She's really honing into her Jersey and Italian background, so it's just fun to see, and I'm proud of her every time.
She started borrowing a few moves from the Steve Maclin catalog.
Yes.
What happened there? Because I did not expect that.
That made me laugh. It made me think back to when Shawn Michaels was wrestling Leaf Cassidy back then, and Brett was on commentary, and then Brett's like, he's doing my moves. And then I'm sitting there on the couch and I'm texting Blake and I'm like, my wife's doing my moves on Dynamite, this bitch. But no, she did it to pop me. And it really got me. I'm like, hell yeah. I'm like, use it. Just use it. I was like, it's awesome. Because if she's getting it over, that means if I one day go there and I do it, people are like, well, I don't know. They might think I'm stealing from my wife. But I don't know. Yeah, it's just pretty cool to just see.
That means you're going to start using the armbar?
Maybe.
Okay. I want to see you lock in a Venus de Milo tonight.
I don't know if many guys, I don't think shoulders can get that way unless I'm just ripping it out of the socket. We could try.
This the smallest guy in the match, not the smallest, but you know what I mean.
Most limber, I would say, is Nemeth.
Nemeth
Would be the most limber, so we'll maybe give it a shot. If it's there, I'll go for it.
If it happened, comment.
Yes.
You did the thing. Do I have anything else for you? We're going to check my notes real quick because this is what we do. No, we did it. Oh,
How's
yeah.
Dad Life?
Dad Life's great, man. 2.5-year-old who's an absolute monster in the best possible way. Look at this kid. I don't show him on camera. Look at that thing. You want to bury AJ Francis?
He does it himself, so.
We did it with Steph DeLander, and she absolutely went to town. So good for her.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big burial guy. I kind of let it be known. Like I let people bury themselves.
Okay.
And I don't have any animosity with AJ. He's a good dude.
I think most people have understood at this point.
Yeah. He's just very much his character. He's a very larger than life character, and he's turned that dial up to 12 and not 10. So he's very good at what he does.
Well, we covered all. We did it all.
We did.
We did it.
Hopefully I'm world champion right now if this is post Slammiversary.
And if we do it again and you are the world champion, we'll do it over Zoom and celebrate.
Yes. Or we'll be on the weeds.
I mean, shoot.
You bring me as a guest day after, yeah.
It's not always my call when you get to shoot.
No, it's not.
But regardless, we did it today. Slammiversary is tonight. Obviously, this will have already been posted post-show.
Yes.
But Maclin, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. You want to plug anything before we get on out of here?
At Steve Maclin, Instagram and Twitter. Pro Wrestling Tee Store, Steve Maclin. Shop TNA, all your Steve Maclin merchandise and TNA merchandise. And just let's keep this ball rolling and getting the TNA buzz out there and TNA Plus app as well. Subscribe. Do your thing, click. Are you going to put a thing at the bottom that they can click? You're going to put an ad for the TNA app on this?
I don't think it's a sponsored gimmick. Like if you want to talk to them about it, like I can
subscribe to the TNA Plus app. Let's keep this ball rolling on TNA, getting this momentum. We want more than 4,000 people. We want 10,000 people, 12,000 people, 20,000 people for these shows just to get TNA even bigger than it already is. It's the best wrestling show out there. And well, you get to watch yours truly. Tag them, bag them, and bring the mayhem.
For Steve Maclin, I'm Joe Pearl. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.